The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have been working for years to dethrone the US dollar. The BRICS makes up 45% of the world population in comparison to USA of 4.2%. BRICS combined economy dwarfs that of the US. But now, tensions are hitting a boiling point. President Trump just fired back, announcing that any BRICS country trying to undermine the US dollar could face tariffs of up to 150%. And the response? BRICS leaders have declared that nothing will stop them from challenging US financial dominance. The world has changed, therefore US has to change. So in today's video, we're diving deep into this massive global economic shift. Checkmark: what does BRICS really want, and why are they trying to replace the dollar? Checkmark: what happens if they succeed? Checkmark: and most importantly, how can you, as an investor, protect yourself and even profit from this economic chaos? Before we dive in, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on critical updates about the global economy and financial markets. To understand what's happening, we need to go back to 1944. That's when the US dollar became the world's reserve currency at the Bretton Woods Conference. This gave the US enormous economic power. Today, most international trade is done in dollars. If a country wants to buy oil, food, or major commodities, they often have to use US dollars. This means countries need dollars to function, and that gives America control over global finance. But BRICS sees this as a problem, and rightfully so. For decades, China, Russia, and others have been frustrated by US dominance in global trade. They argue that Washington uses the dollar as a weapon, imposing sanctions, freezing assets, and manipulating trade. So now, BRICS is working on an alternative, a new global currency that could challenge the dollar. And here's where things get really interesting. Trump's response has sent shockwaves through global markets. In a major speech, President Trump announced that any BRICS country attempting to undermine the US dollar will face up to 150% tariffs. Here's exactly what he said. That's an economic war declaration. China has already responded, warning that US tariffs could damage global trade. Brazil's president said, nothing will stop BRICS from ending dollar dominance. And Russia? They're accelerating trade with China using yuan instead of dollars. Bottom line, BRICS isn't backing down. And if this escalates, we could be looking at one of the biggest financial shakeups in modern history. Question for you. Do you think BRICS can actually replace the US dollar? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If BRICS successfully creates a rival global currency, what would it mean for the US and the global economy? Keycap: one less demand for US dollars. Small diamond: if fewer countries need dollars, the value of the dollar could drop. Small diamond: that means higher prices for imported goods, more inflation in the US. Keycap: 2 energy and oil markets could shift. Small diamond: right now, most global oil is traded in dollars. Small diamond: but if BRICS moves to settle oil trades in Chinese yuan or a new BRICS currency, it could reduce US influence over energy markets. Keycap: 3 higher borrowing costs for the US. Small diamond: the US relies on foreign countries buying its debt, treasury bonds. Small diamond: if demand for dollars falls, the US might have to pay higher interest rates to attract buyers. Small diamond: this could make America's $36 trillion national debt even harder to manage. This is a major risk for the US economy. But it also creates massive investment opportunities for those who know where to look. So, how can you prepare for these major financial changes? Here are 3 key strategies. Gold prices have been soaring, and central banks, especially in BRICS nations, are loading up on gold. If the dollar weakens, gold could skyrocket even further. If BRICS moves away from the dollar in oil trade, energy markets will shift. Investors should be watching oil companies, natural gas stocks, and commodity-related ETFs. Stock market volatility is increasing. Savvy investors are looking into global diversification, emerging market ETFs, and alternative assets. Remember, Wall Street already knows this, and they're positioning themselves now. So, where does this leave us? Checkmark BRICS is serious about challenging the US dollar. Checkmark Trump is fighting back with aggressive tariffs. Checkmark and global investors are watching closely to see who will win this financial war. This is not a small issue. It's one of the biggest geopolitical and economic battles of our time. The real question is, what happens next? Will the US dollar remain dominant, or are we witnessing the beginning of the end? Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Can BRICS actually replace the dollar, or is this all just talk? If you found this video helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more updates on the global economy.